Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi are two of the most phenomenal footballers known in human history. Yet, they train for days and weeks before they play even a single match. What will happen if they arrive at the training ground and could not get access to even a single football? Would the verbal advice of the manager suffice for them to play without even having a contact with a real football? Your guess is as good as mine. Engineers and scientists study the behavior and structure of physical elements in order to use them for production of goods and services that are used in human society. If the engineers and scientists do not have access to these local resources for their research and production, would they be able to produce anything? I think you know the answer. Welcome to the 13th episode of Restartnaija. In the last episode, we discussed the roles of the law enforcement agencies in the development and the formation of a democratic society. We noted that the Nigerian law enforcement and the executive are people who have been charged with the role of defending an illegitimate constitution, which also affects them. However, they are unable to change it for good. In this episode, we shall discuss the role of practical education in fulfilling the People's Agreement of Development and Peace in the society. We continue from the Leviathan story of the people who were thrown into a society, who fought themselves in struggle for the resources, and who eventually agreed to cooperate together to develop, distribute, and utilize these resources for their good. The task of developing and processing these resources for human good requires practical knowledge for development of both human and mineral resources. So, members of the human society learn how to interact with both the human resources and the mineral resources in their place. They continually search for new ways of utilizing their resources through observation and experiment for the good of their society. When they discover a new way of utilizing these resources in their society, they teach other people in order to multiply the effect of this enlightenment in their society. They document and transmit the content of their discovery to newer generations. These newer generations absorb the knowledge of the past generation and goes further to search for newer ways of utilizing the resources they have in their land. Hence, there are two types of education: the introductory education and the discovery education. The introductory education is the art of teaching people what has been learned and already existing knowledge of how to utilize the resources in the environment. Whereas the discovery education is the search for new ways for utilizing resources, human and mineral resources, in one's environment. Each society observes and experiments on the resources they have in their place in order to understand how to utilize it. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we learn to admire how other people utilize the resources in their places to solve their own problems. But our scientists don't have access to the resources in our environment to produce or solve our own problems. The Nigerian Mineral and Mining Act states that all lands in which minerals have been found in Nigeria and any area covered by its territorial waters or constituency and the exclusive economic zone shall, from the commencement of this act, be acquired by the government of the Federation. No person shall search for or exploit mineral resources in Nigeria or divert or impound any water for the purpose of mining except as provided in this act. The property in mineral resources shall pass from the government to the person by whom the mineral resources are lawfully won upon their recovery in accordance with this act. Keen observation suggests that those who win the property in these mineral resources are foreign companies who are fronted by their indigenous allies. The indigenous allies are given some percentage to stand in, while the foreign companies extract and export these resources to their places, only to reimport it to our place as finished goods. Today, Nigerian youths are taught the importation skills of reading, writing, and counting. They are not taught the skills for production because there is no access to the mineral resources from which they can produce. In the pre-colonial era, when these resources were controlled by the ethnic communities, the community youths used these resources to develop their places, no matter how crude it could be at that time. They built markets, houses, local guns, technical works, their shops, and their markets. If the Nigerian youth had access to these resources, we have local scientists who would have developed more than just producing local guns and refining substandard fuel from the so-called stolen resources. Instead of allowing young people to have access to their own resources, our politicians, wise politicians, maintain that the Nigerian youth are unemployable. In our next episode, we shall discuss the role of religion in establishing a just, peaceful, and progressive nation. I'm sure you won't like to miss that. Thank you for watching this episode of Restartnaija. I am your host, Chukwuike Enokochi. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic.